Armored Core 6 is finally here, and if you're like us, you immediately headed to the garage to see the absolute smorgasbord of options your mech has at its disposal to battle it out against the 3D printed monstrosities FromSoft have set up to wipe us off the map. And if you're also like us, you tried to build the most busted, broken, OP mech you could, only to find yourself at the mercy of EN Shortfall. And I know that doesn't sound particularly exciting, but trust me, it's incredibly important. So what is it, and how can you avoid it stopping you from living out your best battle mech-fueled dreams? You see, Armored Core 6, like a lot of FromSoft games really, comes with options. But while the Souls games of old have often catered to allow players to slog through them with a build that they know and love, in Armored Core 6, you're going to need to get used to shaking things up. No boss is the same, no enemy has the same strengths and weaknesses, and if you don't tweak your mech between almost every major fight, you're going to have a hard time keeping yourself off the loading screen. As a result, you're going to be spending a lot of time in the garage, getting to grips with Armored Core 6's very in-depth crafting and customization options, and try to avoid the dreaded EN Shortfall. Putting together your builds is all about balance. You can't always get everything that you want, and there will always be downsides to whatever you pick, but you can get what you need, so long as you're willing to do a little bit of trial and error. The nimbleness of a light mech build might work wonders for avoiding enemy attacks, but you'll likely run into EN Shortfall when you try to add some more demanding parts to the mech. Each part you add to your mech comes with its own EN load cost. The better the part, generally, the more its overall cost will be. EN Shortfall occurs when your total EN load exceeds the maximum allowed for your current AC configuration. That max value isn't static between all mechs, and it can fluctuate dramatically up and down depending on what parts you've installed, so it's something you always have to be aware of whenever you're making tweaks between boss fights. Typically, you will find that heavier and more demanding parts have a greater effect on your total EN load, meaning that you're more likely to meet the EN Shortfall message. But that said, lighter builds can be susceptible to this too. It's not a hard and fast rule. You won't actually be able to head out onto any missions or arena battles while your mech has EN Shortfall, obviously that will be broken, and thankfully the game doesn't punish you by sending you out anyway and making it difficult to move or anything like that. But it does basically force you into making sacrifices and prioritising which parts of the build you value the most. Thankfully, fixing EN Shortfall is easy enough, either by increasing the maximum value of your current EN load or decreasing the sum of the EN load of all parts in your mech. For the former, you're going to want to pay close attention to the EN output stat on both the core and generator parts for your AC. While generators can give the biggest boost to your EN output and are your best way to fix EN Shortfall while you're building, your core also has a significant impact on it. The better generators and cores you manage to find, the better parts you'll be able to equip at the same time, so the EN system works pretty well, encouraging you to make the most efficient builds you can, whilst also encouraging you to seek out the best ways to boost EN. It's a win-win really, it just doesn't feel like one when you aren't allowed to build what you want. In terms of decreasing the sum of the EN load, this applies to every single part you have on your mech outside of the generator and expansion slots. So it can take some tinkering to find a decent solution, especially once you get access to the later game bosses and you really need to up your damage output or defenses to stand a chance against them. In short, heavier items like weapons or armor have a higher EN load, but you'll want to be careful with energy weapons too, as they tend to have a higher EN load despite their lighter build. Instead of just focusing in on your weapons, think about dropping some cash on new boosters, or those aforementioned generator and core slots. It might not be as fun to think about the arms, legs and boosters that you're putting on your mech as it is to think about the new minigun that you might be able to put on it, but the upgrades to these things generally cost less EN load overall, so just think about more than the damage that you're dealing. Really though, it comes down to how you want to play. Just be aware that the heavier stuff you add, the less you'll be able to have on your build as a whole. And if you're looking for some recommendations when it comes to adding to your EN load and ensuring you can hold everything your metal heart desires, you would struggle to go wrong if you can get your hands on the VP20C, VP20D, or VP20S generators. That middle generator in particular is great if you want to max out your energy. For cores, it really depends what you're looking for your build to do, but the best ones we were able to get hold of were the 07061 Mind Alpha and the DF-BD08 Tian Qian. They're excellent bases for all manner of builds, so you'll be able to throw together all kinds of Frankensteinian monster mechs with these at your core. So there you go, now you know what EN Shortfall is in Armored Core 6 and how to deal with it, and we even threw in a couple of suggestions to help you out. So, if you're finally ready to get out the garage and see everything that Armored Core 6 has to offer, check out our boss fight guides. Or if you're here and you're still not convinced the game is for you, check out this video, where we ask the question, should you buy Armored Core 6?